Welcome to Talks with Dr. Gupta and Friends. Over the last 4 decades, China accomplished what is arguably the most dramatic economic expansion in human history. By lifting over 800 million citizens out of extreme poverty, Beijing did not merely alter its domestic landscape, it reshaped the global macroeconomic architecture. This transformation rests upon an unwritten social contract. The Chinese Communist Party promises continuous economic elevation, world-class infrastructure, and social stability in exchange for political compliance and state oversight. But the quiet engine powering this entire apparatus is a culture of relentless, systemic hyper-competition. From early childhood, Chinese students enter an unforgiving academic crucible defined by the Gaokao examination. This hyper-competitive filtering mechanism channels only the most resilient minds into elite institutions like Tsinghua, Peking, and Zhejiang universities. They now dominate global STEM rankings, filing top-tier international patents and leading global citations in chemistry, material science, and engineering. This brutal selection process extends directly into the corporate arena, where domestic markets operate on a principle of hyper-rivalry and rapid iteration. Consider the Chinese electric vehicle revolution. Automakers like BYD and NIO did not emerge in a vacuum. They were forged in a hyper-competitive domestic market that forced rapid technological evolution. By securing complete vertical integration from lithium refining to battery manufacturing and digital software cockpits, Chinese EV makers are outpacing Germany's legacy automotive titans in speed, cost, and innovation, triggering a structural crisis across European manufacturing hubs. Nowhere is this hyper-competitive agility clearer than in artificial intelligence. The emergence of DeepSeek delivered what Silicon Valley recognized as AI's Sputnik moment. Operating under severe Western chip export bans, Chinese engineers focused on algorithmic efficiency and open-weight architectures, building hyper-capable reasoning models at a fraction of Western compute costs. The DeepSeek moment proved that relentless domestic competition and creative resourcefulness can bypass brute force compute barriers, shattering the myth of permanent Western technological supremacy. To understand how China built this industrial machine, we can extract 5 distinct blueprints from its developmental playbook. First, multi-decade state planning cycles executed through binding 5-year plans insulated from electoral shifts. Second, a massive infrastructure-first investment strategy that builds power grids, ports, and high-speed rail years ahead of commercial demand. Third, hyper-targeted industrial policy where state banks subsidize national champions. Fourth, spatial cluster manufacturing concentrating raw materials, factories, and logistics within specialized industrial zones. And fifth, state-directed land acquisition that bypasses private property hurdles. Today, geopolitical observers often look at India under the ruling BJP regime, noting a trajectory toward a centralized dominant party state, and ask whether Prime Minister Modi can deploy this exact playbook to achieve the Viksit Bharat vision by 2047. Here is the absolute contrarian reality. India can centralize political power, but India can never become China. The structural friction points are insurmountable. China's state-led model relies on absolute land ownership, state-owned banking monopolies, and a Leninist apparatus that commands local officials without legal challenge. India, even under a strong central executive, remains a deeply fragmented constitutional republic. In India, land acquisition triggers fierce local protests and prolonged judicial review. State governments controlled by regional parties routinely resist national directives. Indian capital markets rely heavily on private enterprise rather than state allocation. Most critically, India's social contract is built on democratic bargaining and social coalition building, not a top-down technocratic mandate. Attempting to force China's autocratic blueprint onto India creates institutional paralysis, proving that democratic friction is an unchangeable feature of India's national DNA. Understanding China's current trajectory requires analyzing the fundamental leadership shift under Xi Jinping. For decades, Beijing operated under Deng Xiaoping's famous doctrine, hide your strength, bide your time. Leaders like Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao prioritized technocratic management, high GDP growth, market integration, and low-profile diplomacy. Private tech conglomerates flourished, and ideological rhetoric took a back seat to commercial expansion. Xi Jinping dismantled that paradigm. Upon taking power, Xi consolidated personal authority to a level unseen since Mao Zedong. enshrining his personal political doctrine into the constitution and taming the private technology sector through aggressive regulatory campaigns. Under Xi, national security and party control replaced pure GDP growth as the state's primary metrics. Through the dual circulation strategy, Beijing prioritized domestic supply chain resilience over foreign economic integration, accepting slower growth rates as a necessary trade-off for strategic autonomy. This domestic centralization extends directly into military power. Critics often point out that the People's Liberation Army has not fought a major foreign war in nearly half a century. Yet, under Xi's direct command, the PLA has built the world's largest navy by hull count, deployed advanced hypersonic anti-ship missiles, expanded its nuclear triad, and operationalized fifth-generation stealth fighters. China's military might does not rely on battle-tested expeditionary ground forces. It is engineered for high-tech asymmetric precision. Through aggressive anti-access area denial systems and civil-military technology fusion, Beijing has constructed a modern military doctrine designed to lock foreign forces out of the Western Pacific without firing a single bullet until necessary. This powerful mix of hyper-competitive techno-nationalism, centralized authority, and military modernization converges on the ultimate geopolitical flashpoint, the Taiwan imperative. For the Chinese Communist Party, Taiwan is an existential strategic mandate. It controls over 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors through TSMC, while sitting at the precise center of the first island chain, the strategic barrier blocking China's navy from unrestricted access to the deep Pacific. When evaluating Beijing's strategy to reclaim Taiwan, Western analysts often focus solely on a full-scale amphibious invasion. But Beijing's most ambitious play is coercive inclusion, a hybrid assault utilizing maritime blockades, energy choke points, and cyber strikes to force a coerced political surrender without a single landing craft touching Taiwan's shores. If Beijing executes this strategy or launches a military assault, Washington faces an unprecedented dilemma. Intervening directly triggers the first direct military conflict between nuclear superpowers, threatening an immediate $10 trillion global economic collapse from global GDP. A systemic shock wave more than twice as severe as the 2008 financial crash and the COVID-19 pandemic combined. This will be a total, immediate paralysis of global trade, stock market meltdowns, and worldwide industrial stagnation. Standing down surrenders Western security leadership and hands Beijing control over the Pacific. The US alliance system in Asia rests on one currency: credibility. If the American nuclear umbrella fails to protect Taiwan, Tokyo and Seoul will realize the Pax Americana is over. Stripped of US guarantees, Japan and South Korea will be forced into rapid sovereign nuclearization to ensure their own survival. If either superpower faces an existential military defeat, whether it is the catastrophic sinking of American carrier strike groups or the total destruction of the People's Liberation Army invasion fleet, the threshold for deploying tactical nuclear weapons collapses. Once a low-yield nuclear warhead is detonated at sea, escalation control is a delusion. We transition overnight from a battle for global tech dominance to the threshold of mutually assured destruction. In this endgame, there are no clean outcomes, only civilizational shocks. Thanks for watching Talks with Dr. Gupta and friends. Stay sharp, stay informed, and let's keep analyzing the forces shaping our world.